My gym trainer said nobody would notice me, so I got fit and ended up taking his job. Have you ever had one cruel sentence get stuck in your head and refuse to leave? Mine came from my gym trainer, Sean, after I missed a workout. He looked at me in front of two other members and said, "If you disappeared tomorrow, no one would even notice." I laughed like it didn't hurt, but it did. I was 280 pounds, always out of breath, always the guy people ignored. Hearing it from someone who was supposed to help me felt like getting kicked while I was down. Sean was that kind of trainer. If you were fit and looked good on camera, he loved you. If you were new, heavy, or nervous, he barely looked at you. People like me were just membership fees. That night I went home. I looked up beginner plans, calories, protein, and form. I wrote down my weight and one goal in a notebook: make him wrong. The next day I stopped coming in when Sean worked and started showing up at 5 in the morning instead. The gym felt like a different place. No posing, no shouting, just the hum of treadmills and tired people trying to get a workout in before work. There was an older man on the bike and a couple guys with coffee. Nobody stared at me, nobody smirked. They just nodded like I belonged there, so I kept coming back. At first I was terrible. I forgot machine settings, checked my notebook between sets, and got winded fast. One morning I dropped the little pin from a weight stack and had to crawl under the machine to find it. I wanted to disappear. Instead, the older man bent down, handed it to me and said, "First month's rough, second month's better." His name was Melvin. After that we started talking. Little by little, I stopped feeling ashamed. I got better. I learned every machine. I learned how to eat without lying to myself. When nervous new people came in, I'd help them adjust a seat or find the right dumbbells because I remembered how bad it felt not knowing anything. 6 months later, I was down 90 pounds. One morning, the gym manager, Carol, stopped me and asked if we could talk. I thought I was in trouble. Instead, she said she'd been hearing my name from the morning members. Melvin said I helped him use the rowing machine without making him feel stupid. Carol said they needed a trainer for beginners, someone patient, someone who cared. Then she asked if I'd ever thought about getting certified. I said yes so fast my voice cracked. For 2 months, I studied before work, after work, and during lunch. I passed the exam, and Carol hired me. My first official shift started at 5 a.m. on Monday. I showed up early in a clean staff shirt with my name on it and my stomach in knots. I was wiping benches when Sean walked in through the employee door. He saw me in trainer gear and stopped cold. For a second, he just stared. Then he laughed like it had to be a joke. "Oh, didn't know you worked here now." I said, "Yeah. Carol hired me to run the morning sessions." His smile twitched. "What morning sessions?" I looked at the wall clock. 5 to 9. Your old shift, actually. He stared at me, then at Carol as she came out of her office. She told him his final check had been mailed and reminded him he wasn't allowed behind the desk anymore. Sean started talking fast, saying there had to be some mistake, that he brought attention to the gym, that people followed him online. Carol cut him off. She said members had complained for months about him showing up late, being rude, filming people without asking, and ignoring beginners. Then she nodded toward me and said, "We decided to go in a different direction." Sean looked back at me like I'd done this to him. "You got me fired?" he snapped. My heart was pounding, but I kept my voice calm. "No, Sean, you did that yourself." He stood there with his jaw tight, while morning members kept walking in behind him. Sean saw them looking. He grabbed his bag and left without another word. I thought that was the end of it. 3 months later, I was showing a new member how to use the leg press when I saw Sean standing near the front desk in a hoodie, no badge, just an intake form in his hand. He waited until I finished, then asked if we could talk. He said he'd bounced between gyms and realized he cared more about looking good than helping people. Then he looked me in the eye and asked if I had any openings. I let that sit there for a second. The guy who once told me nobody would notice if I disappeared was standing in front of me asking for my help. I took the form from his hand and looked at the schedule. "I've got one opening," I said. His face lit up. "Yeah?" I nodded. 5 a.m. Beginner slot. Same hour you used to act like people didn't matter. He glanced toward the front windows, dark as night, then back at me. "That's early." I handed him a pen. "It's when the invisible people work out." He stared at me, lowered his eyes, and signed for Monday. Now people are saying I humiliated him too much. Was I wrong?